Hi, I am Mickey Clements, and I used to make stuff like this.
A few years ago, I bought one of these relatively inexpensive briefcase record players with the intention of having it set up Christmas morning playing this lovely album by Laura Sullivan. It's just some really nice, unintrusive Christmas music that creates a really lovely ambiance. Definitely something to keep in the back of your mind for the next holiday season. Anyway, it turns out that the record player I bought was DOA, and I didn't discover that until I was setting it up on Christmas Eve. All was not lost, however. While the record player portion didn't work, the Bluetooth speaker portion did, so I just streamed her album off my phone through the record player, which is just the absolute dumbest thing. And while I was pretty bummed out about the whole situation, it did make me realize how much I actually wanted a record player, and that I should invest in a really nice one. But being a little unsure as to exactly what a nice one amounted to, I tweeted Colin of This Is Not Compute for a recommendation. He has a very cool channel here on YouTube, mainly centered around retro tech, but he does the occasional video on audio equipment. He makes really great, high-quality videos, so it's no real surprise that he was the first person that came to mind to ask for this kind of device. And best of all, he responded, recommending the Audio-Technica AT-LP120. And almost exactly a year later, after sending that tweet, I am now the proud owner of an Audio-Technica AT-LP120X USB. And from what I can tell, it really is just an overall good record player. Solid build, high quality materials, no unnecessary bells and whistles. It does have this little light to help you see the tracks, which is pretty cool. It also has USB, hence the X USB in the name, which could come in handy if I ever want to record a record. Not sure why you would want to do that unless it's like a vintage record that doesn't exist anywhere else. Or I know sometimes the audio from people's weddings were recorded onto records, so stuff like that, it would be pretty useful. But I also don't know if the quality of the USB is better or worse than just connecting the record player directly to a recorder. Anyway, not that you really needed a history lesson on why I bought a record player, but I thought it was mildly interesting, and it gives some context for one of my vision board items, which I suppose I can take off now. But now that I have a record player, I need records to play on it. In my initial search of Amazon for some interesting records, I came across a 6LP collector's edition box set for the soundtrack from the video game Horizon Forbidden West. And I had an anniversary coming up, 9 years of marriage to my beautiful wife Lisa. Now, I wasn't positive, but I had a seeking suspicion that my wife was pretty fond of the Horizon games. I couldn't quite put my finger on why I thought that, but I just figured this might be something she would appreciate. I know I like listening to video game soundtracks, plus I'm trying to build up a collection of vinyl records, so this seemed like a perfect anniversary gift. Except it was a pre-order and it wouldn't be shipping until sometime in July. So instead of doing the accepted but still kind of lame tradition of printing off a picture of the thing you bought but don't actually have yet and just giving them the picture, I decided to make a miniature model of the records. It was pretty straightforward as far as making miniatures go. Honestly, the only thing that really made this difficult was the fact that this is basically the only image of the set that there is. So I had to basically extrapolate everything I could about the set from this single medium resolution picture. For the records, I found a great model of a vinyl record on Thingiverse by William Armstrong 8. I just kind of picked a scale at random, 75mm seemed good, so I just scaled the record to that and sent it off to the printer. I was a bit worried that by making it that small the grooves would just disappear, but they actually printed out perfectly, so I printed 5 more and then just painted them with some acrylic paint. Again, just using that one image as a reference and doing my best approximation of how the record should look, and I think I did pretty good. This light blue one could have been a bit more bright blue, but overall I think I got pretty close. The record sleeves were actually pretty easy. I just cut them out of the picture and warped them and used content aware to fill and generate the missing parts that were covered by the other records. Finding the additional artwork was also basically the same. I just cut the image out, warped it, and then used Google's reverse image search to try and track down the original high-resolution image. The set doesn't really seem to have an actual box, so I just took some creative license and made my own, still using images from the original picture. The other thing I just kind of guessed at were the labels on the records. They were just a little too small to make out. This one is pretty clear, I think I got it right, but for the others I just picked some horizon images that looked good. Also, whatever is on the back of these posters, I just found this triangle pattern that was similar to the triangle pattern in this image. I also printed this pattern out on some paper and used it as wrapping paper, and when she was opening it, she commented that this looks like horizon stuff, so I guess I picked close enough. But that is pretty much it. I think it came out great. Lisa thought it was pretty cool. I'm excited to get the actual set, mostly just to see how close my mini set compares, but also so we can listen to it. Now, as I said, I just kind of picked a scale at random. Had I remembered, I could have possibly scaled it to fit this little record player I have. However, as it is, they do actually kind of fit. Honestly, not much different to how they fit on this briefcase style record where it's oversized. But this little player is actually pretty cool. The records for it have magnets in them. So when you put a record on, it kind of goes for a while. There we go. So the different orientations of the magnets on the different records controls which record will play. So that's a pretty clever design. But seeing this almost makes me want to make a miniature record player that slightly better fits these records and that actually spins. And I bet I could design something with Arduino and maybe an NFC reader so that when you put different records on, the NFC triggers their Arduino to play those different songs. And I think that could be a really fun project, but we'll see if I ever find the motivation to do that. But for now, my sincere thank you for watching. Once again, I am Nick D. Clements. If you're wondering, Nick is short for Nicholas, and the D stands for Horizon Zero Dawn. Anyway, I'm off to make something else.
Mary had a little lamb, its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go.